Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth, playing the extended campaign solo. This will be part 18, I think. Okay, still getting a chance to get to the table. Work a bit later again, but I do have a little bit of time, so let's get a part and maybe a bit more done, hopefully. Uh, so part 18, right, okay, where are we at? I left things, actually, I generally have a quick look at the end of the previous part, just to see where we're at. Benazir Bhutto, right, I recall now, this is the card we're playing, so it's a jihadist bot's turn, we've got one card left, this is their last card. I started going through the flow chart, found out they're going to land at plot, and didn't really have enough time to carry on. The other thing was I wanted to get the chance to maybe find out more about should these plot markers be here. So I've got a couple of comments on that which I'm glad about. Thanks for that, guys, because I'm sort of like I was on the fence about what to do here, and I wanted somebody else's opinion on it. Man, it's probably not a huge big deal, but I'm glad that they've answered it the way they've answered it, because makes sense to me. But just because of the way I'm playing the game, because it's the campaign, I wasn't 100% sure. Anyway, get to that shortly. A couple of comments previously to that. Give me a second. Okay, comment from Tim. This part 13, 23 minutes, 25 seconds. A major jihad is still considered a jihad operation, so yes, you still remove a cell for each failure. Yeah, I mean, I sort of knew it, but it's just Grant the way he thinks. However, he explains it. If we look at it here, it says, notice that section 8.4 is titled Jihad. Okay, so here we go. I mean, we have looked at this. So the whole title of this is Jihad, and like he says, 8.42 is titled Major Jihad, but they're under the same section here, 8.4. 8.4, then you've got 8.41, 8.42. So a jihad is both of these things, isn't it? I sort of knew it, but don't like to sort of commit to some things, I guess. So there are two types of jihads, major and minor, but both are still considered jihads. 8.43 says that each failed jihad roll removes a cell at the funding track. So this applies to both major and minor jihads. 8.3. Failed jihad, each failed jihad removes. Yeah. No. I mean, I did do it that way, sort of knowing that. But nice to have somebody else's take on, just to make sure. I'm sure everybody had no problems with that as well. Comment from Mark. Hitting your stride now, good stuff, keep going. Well, thanks, Mark. Yeah, hitting my stride. What was this part 13? I think it's part 14. The plot comes into it. And you've just been through part 12, which, well, if you watched that, that was a bit miserable. Anyway, what the good thing I'm enjoying. I mean, I'm enjoying the game. I think we're having it pretty tough, but there's some good things coming along. I think that card that we were able to get to remove the cells and the plots here was quite nice and timely. But then the timely situation to set they plots up was quite timely for the actual jihadist player. First card he drew put a WMD plot in the plots available box, and then the second card put two plots out there in the US, and of course we had cells in the US, so it went there. Anyway, we were able to deal with that, so that was good. Yeah, I'm saying I'm enjoying the game, but mainly I don't appear to be making any huge blunders, and I made a lot of blunders in the previous playthrough, so it does just show you that playing the game first, it's not that I've not played the game before, but it's been a long time since I've played the game, and you probably watch and think, doesn't look like he's played the game at all, but it's because I want to be extra careful and not make these mistakes. So we're going along okay now, so let's hope that continues. You can get a bit complacent, and then before you know it, things are going wrong. Okay, again from Tim here, 36-minute 40-second mark. I didn't look into this, so I've not really had the time to go through everything just now. He says another option would be just focus on other things than War of Ideas the rest of the turn. Do some disrupting to get your prestige up. Yeah, I think I maybe mentioned it, realised at the end I was rolling War of Ideas. Was it when I was trying to get Afghanistan or to good? And I rolled quite a few times and failed. And I mean, there's other operations the US can do that are guaranteed, you know, like disrupt. You know, they don't need to roll a dice for. Where you're rolling a dice for these things, you feel like the card that you're using on it has just been wasted because you never got the result. It feels like a waste or whatever. But anyway, so thanks for your comments there. Now, where are we next? Right, so part 15. CTR stands for Cooperative Threat Reduction. Yeah, we eventually came across the card. He says there's a US event named CTR that places the markers. That's from Tim. Yeah, wiretapping gets marked because it allows the play of the week. There. It's one of the events that needs to be in play for a week to be playable. And then, but you see, it's going a week, I think, it's just saying it blocks wiretap. So I don't know if it blocks other things a week. I'm not sure, but that's the reason that there's an event in play. If the card week comes into play, it's playable because that event's in play. So yeah, I should have realised that, Tim. Anyway. Okay. Where are we? Okay, so what I did was in part 15, I just finished watching it last night, wanted to get out there in the hope that somebody would comment regarding the plots being up here in this resolved plots box, and the expansion rules say that they stay up there until the end of the turn and then they go back in the available plots. Because technically, but this is just base gameplay at the moment. And the base game rules, although interesting, is that not? No, it's not, Grant, it's not. These rules aren't specific to the bot, are they? No, I'm not going to go and look. No, these aren't in Rule 9, are they? They're probably in Jihadist Operations, which I think is Rule 8, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, in the base game rules, they go in there, and Tim explains the reason. Well, I'll read his comment. He says, the reason the resolved plots space was there in the base game, which is there, because that's what's confusing me. I can understand it being there for the expansions because they stay there until the end of the turn. They don't come back straight away after each phase, after they've been resolved, sorry. Yeah, and that boat. He says the reason this resolved space was there in the base game was for when you were moving the card mark along, you would move it into the box after the US played their second card to remind you to resolve plots. And he says they just repurposed it for the new rule in the expansion. So yeah, when you're coming along here, Jihadist card 1, Jihadist card 2, US card 1, US card 2, then there's a resolved plots box. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? That's why it's there. And then what they've done was, the expansion comes along, they say, right, we're going to change things up a bit here. When a plot gets resolved or blocked, you put them in this box here, the resolved plots box, and they don't come back to here until the end of the turn. Yeah, and then just to confirm that, so I was looking for a little bit help on what others thought of this. He says, in my opinion, that rule doesn't kick in until you get to the second deck. So that was one comment saying that they shouldn't be there, they should have moved out of there. Yeah, it would have been the previous phase, wouldn't it? Yeah, it had to be, Grant. This is a new phase we're just starting with Benazir Bhutto. He's got one card left, I've got one card left. So they shouldn't be there. I left them there because I wasn't sure, right? And he says, he continues, I believe you've got it right that all plot markers are available when playing with Awakening bot. Oh, good, I didn't read that bit. Okay, so that's another comment that's supporting that, so that's good. Okay, so when we're talking about there being 6 plots in here, the base game on the solo, is it just the solo side of things? That? No, I don't know. Anyway, there's 6 available ports here. If a WMD port marker gets put in there, you remove one of you remove the one of the ones, I think, to replace it. And then once the WMD marker goes away, you put the one back. There's nothing in that in the Awakening rules. So I think that's what he's saying there, isn't it? I believe you've got it right, that all port markers are available when playing with Awakening bot. Good, so when we had 7 port markers in here, although we're not playing with Awakening expansion yet, and that's what makes it slightly sort of, these two things are slightly sort of, don't know, it sounds like a bit of a mix we're playing with. But we are playing with Awakening bot, so that rule applies, whereas we're not playing with Awakening expansion cards yet, if you like. So that rule doesn't apply yet. I think that's okay. Yeah, I like that. And then just another addition, I got a comment from Hamler. Don't normal ports get randomised into available port box? I think leaving them there is only when we get to the expansions. So he agrees with that as well, that these shouldn't be left here. So I'm taking these back. I don't know if it was last phase or the phase before, but they certainly should be back there now. And okay, whether this makes it better for me, maybe, because we know there's a WMD within these 5 ports, right? But we now know that there's a WMD and there's 7 ports available, and we don't know which one it is. So there was a higher chance that, you can see there's a higher chance that the WMD would have came out. But that's what it is. I mean, it's fine. Right, and I've just shuffled them up a little bit and put them back, and I'll be rolling the dice for this anyway. If you happen to follow where the one, and I can't even mind what it was. I think it was a 1 and a 2, but give them a shuffle and I'm going to roll a dice, because we're about to be placing another pot, I think, soon. So timing's perfect here. So and then so I'm glad that you read the header. Well, mind you, the question was in the video, Tim, so you might not have read the header, because I left the comment in the header trying to get a couple of you guys to maybe give me your opinion on that. So, well, whether you read the header or not, you did give me your opinion, and so that's good. And I'm going with that. Sorry, cup of coffee here. So, right, and then finally, actually, has they not got a bit more to say on that? Yeah, mass turnout. I thought there was some other comments on that first. Oil price spike. Alright, sorry, I didn't read that one. This is part 15 as well, isn't it? Aye. Okay, yeah, he says at the 54-minute mark, I must have skipped by that. Oil price spike is great here. You can get one of the cards that lets you shift a country to good without having to roll for it. It's a Stani or mass turnout, I believe. I think did we look at mass turnout? Who's Grant looking through I'm only going to look for a few. Yeah. Mass turnout, that was one that I selected. I did think, in fact, I think that was my second choice, wasn't it? It came down to be my second choice. So again, Tim comments at the 1 hour and 1 minute and 25-second mark. Mass turnout is absolutely what you should take here. It guarantees you can end the regime change in Central Asia once you get to fair. It then does have an edit afterwards saying, okay, I guess wiretapping is actually better here. So we took wiretapping to deal with the situation up there. I get what he's saying, but I think he's agreeing that we did pick the right one after all. I mean, like I say, mass turnout was my second choice, so of course I only showed you 4 of the cards. You might well have picked one of the other 60, 70 odd cards as well, but they were the 4 that jumped out at me, and I think it made that situation easier to deal with. Yeah, I could have took the other card, however then but by doing that I'd already played 1 card, so I would only have been able to remove 1 of the pots, wouldn't I? And if I remove 1 and it's not the WMD and then it gets revealed as the WMD, it's game over. So I think I had to do, well, I suppose what I could have done was remove the pots first in that turn, in that phase, remove both pots. then play the oil price spike to get back the mass turnout next turn. I suppose technically I could. It sounds like you think it was a better play, but I get what you're saying about the mass turnout though. Yeah. Right, okay, that's it for now. Let me just get that on charge. I think that's everything to talk about for now. So let's get back to some gameplay. Okay, so I've left that dice there just to mark that that's where I'm at. I'm not going to go and look at the previous video to see them. That it's clear to me that I was. In fact, I've been through the flowchart already and got to here, haven't I? And but yeah, I'm going to annoy you by going through it again. Okay, so we've got this is the last card of the bot's play. It's a 3 ops US card. They do have 1 reserve, but 3 ops is all they're getting. Even though I gave them 4 at one point previously, but that was in the previous playthrough when I made quite a few blunders, like I said. Okay, so is it a playable non-US event? No, it's not. Is Major G had success at poor possible? No. 2 countries here at poor with single cell. Central Asia is at poor with 5 cells but 6 troops there. So no. Is funding tight? No, but it is moderate, so that'll come into it shortly. Selling good or fair Muslim? No. I'm just double checking here in case I made a mistake. No, they're all in poor countries of cells and in Egypt's Islamist rule. So no. Is there a poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells and troops? Yes. It's because there's nothing adjacent in there. I thought I had made a mistake there. Right, so you've got the poor Somalia. No, you've not, because there's 2 troops in 1 cell. Let's forget about that. You've got the poor Iraq with 1 cell more than troops. So that does apply there. So that's a yes. But among that candidate, is there a movable cell adjacent to it? And we just did double check. There's a couple of times now I've thought something was adjacent, like here, and then it wasn't. So, but you could see there's no cells close by. This is near a cell. Somalia is not adjacent to Iraq, so, and neither's Egypt. So there's nothing adjacent that's got cells, like. So no, is funding moderate? It is. It's just into the moderate box in number 6. So that is a yes. So now we're going a different way than what we normally do. So is prestige greater than 1? It's at 6. And is there an active cell with troops? Now this is an inactive cell with troops. However, there is 1 active cell there with troops in Central Asia. There's more active cells here, but no troops. So the answer to that is yes. We've got Central Asia. But the thing is, this is not. It's not. We're going to go to plot here, and you don't automatically think, right, it's going to plot in there. But I mean, it might, because it's obviously asking that question for a reason. And an active cell with troops plotting in there, I think we'll see. Or maybe when we read it, it'll become clear to why they want to do that. However, so the answer is plot. We're going to plot. So then we come across to the plot flowchart, which we've not done much of either. So plot, there's the first box there. Is funding tight? It is not. It's moderate. So no. Is there a poor country with troops and active cells? Well, sorry. These aren't questions, but if you've got 1 or more of them, you stop there and then go down the priorities table, right? So poor with troops and active cells. Yeah, so it is actually going to be Central Asia, isn't it? Because this time it's not. Oh yeah, no, it is. Sorry, it's active. It's asking if there's a poor country and it's got troops in it and it's got active cells in it, or an active cell in it. Poor troops, active cell. And that's the only one. We don't need to look elsewhere, right? So it's Central Asia. So that's where we're going to, and we don't now need to come down the plot. So I think when we look into the plot outcome, let's have a quick look to see here, because we done in US the last time. So this is a Muslim country, right? So if an unblocked plot goes off, this is what would happen. In a Muslim country, or Iran, they would get +1 to their funding, or +2 to their funding if country is that good. Well, the country's poor, so they get +1 to their funding. And here's why it's wanting to target troops. If country has troops, -1 prestige, or prestige to 1 if it happened to be a WMD. Now, we know there's a WMD available, so that's potentially what could happen. Getting our prestige, we've built our prestige back up to 6. We get hit by that, it's back down to 1 again. If Muslim not Iran, roll a number of dice equal to the pot's number. 3 dice if it's a WMD. Each roll equal to or less than the country's governance value worsens governance 1 level towards poor, not Islamist rule, and removes 1 aid. So that's the reason that it's wanting to prioritise. Well, first of all, it's wanting to prioritise troops because it gets a better benefit to, it gets to knock our prestige. It's wanting to pick a poor country because it has a higher chance of reducing its governance because it just needs to roll a 3 or less. And finally, the active cell is because, well, if it didn't have an active cell, would it still not do it there? Would it still not prefer to do it there? Because, I mean, you just activate the cell, don't you? It doesn't need to be active to carry out the operation, I don't think. Pot. Target, non-Islamic rule country with cells. For each role in the target country, 1 cell there must go or already be active. So, I mean, if it wasn't an active cell there, it would just activate it. So, remember, this is a 3 ops card as well. So, it's going to use the active cell and activate 2 more cells, isn't it? Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe if, you know, if it's not got that. The thing is, though, yeah, that seems, maybe somebody will tell me where I'm picking up wrong here. Well, we came here first, and I understand that, because that's telling us that there is that situation, so we're going to pot. It doesn't tell us that we're definitely going to pot in that country with the active cell and troops, but it does kind of come out to that, doesn't it? So that didn't apply. This applied, but if there wasn't an active cell, then it would then want to pick a fair Muslim country that maybe didn't have troops. That seems sort of odd to me. You know, surely even if the troops, if the country's got troops and just sleeper cells, that would still be preferential over fair Muslim, good Muslim, wouldn't it? I don't know, maybe somebody will comment on that. But we followed that right. Poor with troops and active cells. Yeah, okay. And there's only 1, Central Asia. Right, so we're going to... Right, so we're going to carry out a pot operation with 3 ops. So for each row in the target country, 1 cell of them must go or already be active. So it's getting 3 dice, so we do need to activate. This is going to get a bit messy, isn't it? I do need to get in and get 2 more of these cells. I'm probably going to make a mess here. And you'll notice I like things quite tidy. Well, that'll do for now anyway. Right, so 3 active cells. And they're going to have 3 die rolls. And they need a 3 or less. And each success is going to place a random pot marker face down. Okay? That's a wee bit different in the 2-player game, but that's how we do it in the bottle game. And yes, you don't have the WMD marker face up, and you don't specifically target it. Which Grant was away down a daft rabbit hole looking for a rule that wasn't there. And then when he realised, when he thought about if the rule had been there, it's not really a very good rule, would it have been? That's why it's not there. Okay, so... yeah, so poor country, so anything with a 3 or less here is a success. Right, so 2 successes and a failure. Now, no, we know that the failure doesn't go away. We've had that before. So 2 successes. Right, so 2 random pot markers. We're back up to 7 there, are going in Central Asia. Yeah? Okay, so let's find the first one. I've got a D8, so I'll re-roll an 8 and we'll just go left to right for 1 to 7. for the first one. I'll re-roll that. Right, first one's a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the first one going into Central Asia. And then I'll roll a D6 now, left to right. There's 6 left, so we got 3. That was 2 successes. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And that goes in here too. So there's 2 of them. I might just leave them just to remind me that there is 2. Okay. And the 3 cells just stay active. The one that failed doesn't get removed. Because I thought about that before, but it does say in the rules that there's no other effect to a failure. One cell there must go for each. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we've got 2 active, two terror pots in Central Asia. So just right. Well, hang on. Let's finish your turn out. That's it, isn't it? They used all the 3 ops. The card wasn't played for events, so the card's done. Away it goes. Discard. That just gets discarded. Yeah. That Benazir Bhutto. So because it wasn't played for event. Okay, so we've got 1 card left. So you can see what's going to happen here. Eh? We've only got 1 card left. It is a 3-value ops card, but they've got 2 plots. So this is where you can get caught out. If this was in the US right now, fortunately it was not. And if there'd been a sale in the US, I missed something. Have I missed something? No. So it's prioritising an active cell with troops before it would prioritise the US. Well, it seems a bit odd, this, is it not? When you start thinking about how the full chart works. How did we get to the plot in the US last time? Well, I'll tell you how, because the martyrdom operation selects a plot. Selects a cell. No. Martyrdom operation, it'll tell us in here. It's in here it tells us. So when we play martyrdom operation, what is it? 87? No. It says use plot priorities table. So it's very specific about that. Whereas, if it was just doing plot, it would come here, and it wouldn't have plotted in the US if that situation was still the same. It would have plotted in the Central Asia, wouldn't it? But because it's coming direct to the table here, the table, the first priority is the US. There was cells in the US, so it goes there. Sort of a little strange. I mean, if there was cells in the US right now, it still would have plotted there. Am I missing something there then as well? Am I sort of... Does that feel a bit suboptimal? A move for them? A play, Does that not feel a bit weaker than it could have been? Because right now, if the 2 cells were in the... don't get me wrong, there's no cells in the US. So is it possible that I'm missing that somewhere? I don't know. Just sort of feel when it goes here, and then we come up here, that the first question should maybe be, is there a cell in the US? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think we've done anything wrong there, though. So, okay. But right now, if there was 2 cells in the US and 2 plots got put in there, I'd be in trouble right now because I can only remove one of these cells. Plots. Plots I'm talking about. I can only remove one. But yeah, that's the situation we're in now. So our last card play. Now, bear in mind, we're getting away with playing this. Even though our prestige is medium. So play if prestige medium or low. That is, right? And a regime change country has a cell. It does. So this is playable. So when I play it for the 3 ops, it's going to be playable. And it says... Playable jihad. Oh, sorry, it says US randomly discards 2 cards. Well, I've no cards left. And then playable jihadist events on them happen, and then the US posture would go soft. So all these things are going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is it's going to set my posture to soft, but it's already soft. I've no cards to discard, so this is going to do nothing for them, fortunately. Right, but let's go back and. Check on what's going to happen here with these ports. In particular, let's consider that one of them is a WMD. Yeah, if one of them is a WMD, we've got troops there. That's going to knock our prestige from 6 down to 1. Not only that, hang on. Not only that, if it's a WMD, the other thing is... I'm going to roll a dice equal to the pot's number. So I'm going to roll 3 dice for the WMD. So there's a high chance of governance. No, actually, what am I talking about? Each roll equal to or less than the country's governance value worsens governance. Right, okay. And removes 1 aid. Well, no aid marker, so that's good. Right, yeah, well, that's obviously why it selects fair Muslim as the first one, isn't it? Mind you, it selects fair before good. You would think it would select good before fair. I'm maybe missing some obvious things here, I think. It seems that there's a few that I'm scratching my head at there. So, anyway, so, yeah, so governance is not going to get worsened. Because it can't go to... not to Islamist rule, it never can do that. It needs a major jihad for that. There's no aid markers to worry about them removing. So that bit doesn't matter. +1 funding or +2 funding of country at good. So they're going to get +1 to their funding. They are going to go back up into Ampol. Now hold on. Well, this is for each plot, remember. Yeah, you resolve each plot as follows. And you go through the procedure for each one separately. The most worrying part there is the WMD hitting my prestige, isn't it? Mind you still maybe should alert this one of them, shouldn't you? If I alert, I just pick one myself, or select and reveal one plot if WMD removed from the game. If not, available plots box. Use 3 ops, any country with a plot, right? I think I probably should be doing this, shouldn't I? I mean, it's... yeah. I think I should. What else would you have wanted to do? I mean, it's a 3 ops card you've got, so there's probably plenty of options. Well, may have actually just been disrupting more cells there, to be honest. Getting my prestige up. But each one of the plots is also, even if they're not WMDs, is going to hit your prestige -1. So your prestige is going to take at least a -2 hit. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this. I just hope that I don't leave the WMD plot. But it's, who's going to know? It's there, eh? Well, I would know it's there if I was playing by my rules. Yeah, but still maybe wouldn't know which one it was, because if they're random, eh? But although I had it face up at first, but yeah, anyway. Right, yeah, I think I should. So I'm going to play this for alert, to remove the plot, one of the plots, any country with a plot, use 3 ops, select and reveal 1 plot marker, If WMD is removed from the game, if not, it goes to the available pots box. See, it's saying it just goes back there. And that's how we're going to play it until we get to the expansion, and we'll... Although this is the last card of the turn anyway, so it's irrelevant there. And like I've explained, that event, well, you know what? The event is going to trigger, so let's see what Quagmire is all about. Right, so event card 90, Quagmire, 2003 to 2008. US critics of the invasion of Iraq began using the term Quagmire, an implicit reference to the US defeat in Vietnam over a generation before. Just a few months into the war, the US Secretary of Defense, in a memo that went public in the fall of 2003, predicted a long, hard slog for the next several years until the success of a US surge deployment into the country. US difficulties in Iraq would consume domestic political debate, colour external relations, and help sap the nation's will for sacrifice in the fight against extremism. Okay, so Quagmire, US public wearies of war. Like I say, it is going to trigger. We'll just get that out of the way now. I have no cards to randomly discard, so he can't play any of the cards because I've none. And the US posture gets set to soft. It's already soft. Okay, so our 3 ops is going to alert one of these pots. I guess I'm just going to go for the top one. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to kind of hope that this is the WMD, but mainly hope that that's not the WMD. So here we go. It is not, and it was only a 1. Right, that's going to go back in here. So we're going to be shuffling all these up again, aren't we? So once we've drawn this other one. So that was my second card play. This card just gets discarded. That is the end of the phase. It's also the end of the turn, but when we get to the end of our phase, we resolve any unblocked pots. We're going to resolve that pot, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed. Okay, let's see it. Reveal and resolve each pot as follows. Right, well, it's a 2. Actually, I don't think the 2 is going to matter, is it? So it's a pot with a 2. Right, that's going to go back in and get shuffled up as well, so I'll get to that in a bit. Right, so we did avoid the WMD bit, so that's good. Okay, so the procedure, again, that we just looked at. It was in a Muslim country. +1 for funding, or +2 for funding if the country is good. Well, the country is poor, so +1 for funding, gets them back in ample. That's annoying as well, because we've got the full 9 cards again now, but we've got them down. Just can't seem to get that staying down. If a country has troops, -1 prestige, or prestige to 1 if WMD. Well, it does have troops. It wasn't a WMD though, so it just hits a -1. That was the biggest worry, that one, I think. And then finally, I think the rest doesn't matter. If Muslim, roll a number of dice equal to the pot's number, so it was a 2, so we're rolling 2 dice, each roll equal to or less than the country's governance value, worsted governance 1 level towards poor, not to Islamist rule, and removes 1 aid. So I suppose if there'd been aid there, we still would have rolled, because it does remove an aid, but there's no aid markers there. It's already at poor, we don't need to roll any dice. And that's my take on that. I think that seems fine. Okay, end of turn. And although it doesn't feel like I've done an awful lot, I'll maybe just wrap this video up and get another one started into the new turn. It's probably a good idea. Oh yeah, we're going to hit his funding again. I forgot about that. So end of turn procedure is -1 to the funding. So we are going to take it down to 6, and he is only going to get 8 cards. Remember, I'm assuming these are done in this sequence, end of turn sequence. So that happens first before we get to draw cards. I'm not going to look that up in the rules. We've always done it in this order, and it's set out in this order, and clearly it would make a difference there, and I'm assuming it's meant to be like that. So, and then we're taking a hit on our prestige as well, aren't we? -1 prestige if any country is Islamist rule. Well, we still have Egypt as Islamist rule. Fortunately, we're staying in the medium though, so it's down to 4 again. So again, we're still going to try and have to want to work that back up to at least 7. Oh, yeah, we're getting the bonus here again as well, right? Okay, that's good. You would think I'd sort of store all these things. It just shows you how, I don't know, my mind's, I just can't keep it all in my head. +1 prestige if without trying to explain the words, if this is at 3 and we share the same posture as the world, we get a +1 to prestige. So it's back up to 5. Good. And then finally, or not quite finally, remove lapse in events, right? Well, we did have the oil price spike card, so that is getting in the discard pile. So that's a way not to worry about now. Reserves to 0. Our reserves is at 0. Theirs, remember, doesn't get reset between turns. Deal new hands and then regime change to tan. There's no regime change to set to tan. We will be dealing new cards though. So let's check that, and before I do that, let's fix these plots again. So there should be still 7. Remember, that's only going to go to 6 if we eventually find the WMD. And of course, if more WMDs get added, they'll just be added to this. Again, because we're playing with the Awakening bot, I think that seems okay to be doing it that way. Right, cards wise, just the same, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. I forgot, they dropped back down again. So it's 8 each, isn't it? They're at moderate funding, we're at war on the troops track. So 8 cards each. So let me get a bunch of cards. This could be, well, actually this maybe could be the last turn. Because right, hang on. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, so let me just double check the amount of cards because that could be relevant. So we've got 8 cards each, and what we got left, yeah, we're not going to have enough left, I don't think. Because I found out that whenever you can't draw a card, the game, well, not the game ends, but you do a reshuffle right there and then. And nobody challenged that anyway, so I must have been, although I didn't realise that at first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, oh, there's 17 cards left. So it could depend on, you know, how some cards can draw other cards. So there's 17 at the moment. So there's other ways that it could, well, they could go back to that, but that'd be 17. So the only guaranteed way that this would be the last turn would be if they were at ample and we were at low intensity, because we would get 9 cards, that would be 18 cards I'd have to draw. But if it was 18 cards and I was only able to draw 17, we don't continue that play. That's right, guys, isn't it? I mean, don't let me move on and ignore the cards if that's not the case. But it does say, I mean, if it comes to it, I will double check it in the rules that if you go to draw a card and there's not one there, you reshuffle up for your second deck, or the game would end, or whatever. You know, you don't play with. I thought at first that you would just play the cards out, as many as you could each, you know. But no, that's not the case. Right, okay, well, it's the shortest part, but I'm better just splitting it here, because we're starting a new turn, aren't we? So, yeah, I'm just going to come straight back, though. So, I'll be back shortly. Cheers.